Sunday's Cuppa with Kylie, my internet went out and absolutely cut my live in half. Yet I wasn't notified on screen. So, for those of you that started watching that and it cut out at 8 minutes, here's the full version. Let's talk about my safety system for lipedema. Why do I have a safety system? It's my go-to response for when life gets difficult and when life gets a bit out of control and you need to get back to a safe baseline that makes your body feel good. Now, as I always say in my cuppas with Kylie on Sunday nights, Thai time, I have been you. I put this screen up every time I do a live because it's a reminder of how far you can come in such a short amount of time, no matter what your age is. And that's the point, right? It's never too late. This is me less than 5 years ago. Sad, right? I have Hashimoto's. I've had a hysterectomy. I've got lipedema. I had a double knee replacement, gastric sleeve, lipedema arm surgery, lower body lift, face and neck lift, breast and side lift is coming next month. I've had a lot of things and I just keep walking the path. I just keep on going. What's my next step? What can I afford? What do I have the capacity to do emotionally? All the things, right? I just keep taking the next step, which is what I want for you. Okay, here's my disclaimer. I'm a naturopath, clinical nutritionist and herbalist, and a kinesiologist and emotional body release trainer. However, I'm not you. All right. I don't know your background. I don't know your medical history, all the things. So please, if you're going to change something or do something, have a team, go and see who you need to see to make sure it fits into what your personal situation is. Okay. All right. Here's why we need a system, a baseline. It's because life happens. All the things. Holidays, stress, comfort eating, moving house, relationship struggles of all kinds, friends, partners, kids, parents, all the relationships. We sit more. And this is a bad one for me. I sit a lot more than I used to, but I'm trying to balance that with a lot more movement as well. Inflammation grows when we sit more. So, and this is just life. This is just part of life. So the inflammation growing also contributes to hormones out of whack because we're doing so much and, we're comfort eating and we're quick eating and we're processed foods eating. And what do I always say? Convenience is killing us. And so when we partake in the convenient foods and the convenient lifestyle options, then that contributes to inflammation. That contributes to hormones being out of whack also. One of the biggest problems that we have is saying yes when we should be saying no. And you're not alone in that. There's so many women out there in this space of lipedema, the thyroid, that kind of thing, and we're shocking for it. We say yes because we want to please everyone. We say yes because we don't want to let anybody down. We say yes no matter how much it hurts our body, our soul, our well-being. We say yes, and we should be saying no to some of it. So this is why I have a safety system. This is why I have a baseline of what I go back to when these kinds of things in our life happens. First thing I want you to do though, because this is the first thing that I try to do, is stop the guilt. We already feel guilty because just having lipedema, we've felt guilt most of our lives. Why hasn't this diet worked? Why can't I exercise properly? Why? It's something we're doing. It's something we're not doing, right? So we're continuously in this guilt cycle. I know for myself, I felt guilty about things that I didn't even do. And I've altered my life because of them, because of what other people might perceive to be true about me because of the way I looked. And I know you know what I'm talking about there. All right. So the guilt, it's causing problems. It brings on more stress, more cortisol, and that contributes to our lipedema getting worse because it causes our hormones to be worse or not in the right way that they should be. So let's stop the guilt. Okay. And this is me shopping and not feeling guilty about buying a top. All right, Here's my pillars. I have 4 pillars here. So, and they're very basic, and you can change things under each pillar to what you need to happen. But there's 4 basic areas in our life that you can pull back into a basic way of being for you that is helpful for you, not harmful for you. And so for me, and remember, this is going to be different for everybody. So for me, my food pillar is back to pure carnivore. That is always my baseline of when I feel like, oh, things aren't going well, or I'm craving too many carbs, or I'm eating too many little beautiful curry pies like these are at a festival that we were at. When that sort of thing creeps in, for me, it's back to a pure carnivore diet. And I know this works for me. I know this makes me feel good really swiftly. It cuts my cravings within a day or two. It gets me back on track really, really quickly. And I feel better just within a day or two, right? My basic rules is basic carnivore, any kind of meat and eggs. I don't do cheese. Lipedema women shouldn't do cheese anyway, but it's never agreed with me. And with thyroid issues, dairy is not a great thing anyway. 3 liters of water a day. No leftovers. That's been a big thing that I've tried to implement since having vertigo earlier in the year. Earlier in the year. Isn't that shocking that we're already saying earlier in the year? When I cook meat now, I will buy meat from the supermarket here in Bangkok, and I will bring it home and cook it immediately, cut it up and freeze it, which stops the histamine response in the food. So that's how I navigate that. So when I say I don't have leftovers, I don't put things in the fridge for days on end. I put it in the freezer and I cook it fresh from frozen, or I get it out just before I need to cook it or reheat it. And generally, because I cut up things like chicken and things like that very small, I get it out, throw it in a fry pan, and it defrosts and heats up at the same time. So that's kind of my go-to for food when things get out of control. Back to pure carnivore, 3 liters of water a day, no leftovers. Yours might be different. Yours might be a big salad 3 times a day. Yours might be, I don't know, the egg fast if you haven't seen that video, I did an egg fast a little while back. So whatever for you makes you feel good, and whatever makes life feel like you're back in control again, that's your pillar 1 for your food too. Pillar 2, movement. Now, here's the thing. When you've had gastric sleeve surgery, if you move, you will keep the weight off. But if you're not moving, you will not. Okay? It's really hard to eat enough food after a gastric sleeve or weight loss surgery to counteract any exercise you do. And I know this for sure because the last 4 or 5 days, I haven't been for my afternoon walks, which is usually around 8,000 steps, 5 kilometers. And yep, my weight's gone up about 2 kilos. And my weight does go up and down 2 kilos, and I am comfortable with that. That's okay. But it was a good reminder that that daily walk actually makes a massive difference in my world. The reason we haven't been out is because it's Songkran here in Thailand, which is the Thai New Year. And at 55 years of age, we're not really interested in going out and being sprayed with water guns because it's the world's biggest water fight. I'll find some images and put them up here as I talk. And it's just mayhem and bedlam, and everybody's wet and everybody's spraying dirty water, which we're not allowed to drink, in your face and in your eyes, and people get sick after this, and people have eye infections and all sorts of things. So we purposefully tucked ourselves in for the week and filled the fridge up with all the things that we needed in the freezer. And in our very small condo, we have it overflowing on bench tops and things like that because we don't have enough cupboard space, because we had the intent that, right, we're not leaving this building. We do have a gym downstairs, and I have been going down and riding the bike and doing the odd thing. But it's a funny thing happens when you get out of your routine. You tend to just let yourself get even further out of your routine. So the pair of us, my husband and I both, we're just not in our normal routine, and it's really quite disturbing. So for me, usually, and tomorrow, because the gates are open back in the park at the end of our street that we walk around, hosted the biggest water party here this year. And so the gate at the end of our street has been shut because they funnel people into certain gates to sort of keep a check on everything and make sure nothing bad's happening. So that gate reopens tomorrow, so we will be back to our afternoon walks, which is great. I have gone back to my calf raises in the shower. I had let them slide after my last surgeries because I couldn't do any exercise after my lower body lift. And so now I'm back up to 100 in the morning and 100 in the evening. I have 2 showers a day. So that's come back to being a basic pillar for me, back to the calf raises. The bike riding, it's not as regular as I would like it to be, but that needs to be a baseline for me, with the usual walk around the park at the end of the day and with other walks for the rest of the day, you know, going to the shops, going and getting a coffee, that kind of thing. I usually average 10,000 steps a day. I need to add in breathing as a pillar 2 movement, with movement. I haven't done that yet. It's one of those strange things, but it's a bit like calf raises in the shower. You just have to start incorporating it in a certain time in your day, that attach it to something else. So that's on my list, on my hit list. We've got a pool here. I'm hit and miss with the pool only because I've never made it a habit. Again, the surgeries, and I'm about to have another surgery, so you can't go in the pool for, you know, a certain amount of time. You can't even have a normal shower for a certain amount of time until your scars are healed over. If you haven't had these kinds of surgeries, water is the enemy of all scars, let alone water that's not as clean as it might be in Australia or where you come from. So I stand in our bathtub, which also has an Asian kind of separate nozzle, and I give myself an old-fashioned wash with a washer, right? So that's where the swimming has been very hit and miss, and I haven't been able to really get in a good routine with that. Maybe after this next lot of surgeries, and once I've healed from that, I will make that a more regular part of my world. Also, legs up the wall. This is something that I want to include, like the breathing, and it's just such a simple thing, and it takes 5 minutes, and you get in your head about it and you just don't do it. And you look around and you think, where can I do it? Just all these little things, right? So that's my pillar 2. But my definite basics are the 10,000 steps every day and the calf raises in the shower. The other things I add in where I can. Okay, my 3rd pillar is the environment. It's your lifestyle. It's things like compressions. So my Fanker compressions arrived, and I've been wearing them and testing them out because these ones are stronger in compression than the last ones I have, and they've been great, and they don't make me feel hot, and which I was worried about when I bought the Fankers back in Australia. I only bought 1 pair because I was like, oh, you know, they're pricey, but they're great and they look nice. They don't look like standard sort of medical compressions. And so I wanted, before I got any more, to make sure that it wasn't going to be too hot to wear around the heat of Bangkok. And we're right in the guts of the hottest time of year right now. And so far, they're fine. So that's where I start wearing those more often, as opposed to my shorts that I would wear around the condo or a dress. So that comes into play. And here's something really weird. I know it's not exactly lipedema based, but just cleaning and organizing and getting everything put away, it makes you feel so good. All right. And anything that we can do to improve our stress, to lower our cortisol, is going to help lipedema. And so that's always my go-to. So here's the funny thing. If I don't feel like I can do the food, if I'm, you know, have let myself go down that road of carbs and I'm just not ready to come back to my carnivore, and I feel like everything else is just not working for me, or I get into a slump, which I do, right? I'm human just like you. I clean, because that's the one thing that doesn't feel like I'm going without something. And it makes me feel better. It's very cathartic. It clears out the clutter. It clears out your brain. it just makes you feel good. And often when I have a good clean and organize things, like my desk here at the moment is probably a little bit more cluttered than I would like it. The minute I clean it all up, suddenly I can do the other things. Suddenly I'm like, oh, right, let me cook up some meat, right? Because it has a knock-on effect when you feel organized and you feel clean. From a feng shui perspective, if you move or get rid of 27 items in your environment, you completely change the energy of the environment. So that's what they say in feng shui. So when you're cleaning and organizing and throwing things out, you easily move, throw away, discard 27 items. So that's why it's part of my hit list for, right, things are out of control, right, clean something, organize something. And that tends to then have that domino effect of me being able to do some of the things that will move the dial a bit quicker, like the food. All right, my fourth pillar is stress. Anything we can do to lower our stress, to regulate our nervous system is going to be helpful. And this is the thing that we all put off. All right, we all think it's we've got to do the carnival, we've got to do the movement. Yes, of course we do. But if we're under stress 24 hours a day, there's not a diet or a exercise regime that is going to counteract the stress. And I cannot say that enough, because we still keep ignoring it, don't we? Okay, because we've got to face our stuff, and nobody likes to face their stuff. So what do? Massages. This is me before Songkran started the other day, having a foot massage. And let me tell you, after this particular foot massage at this new place that we hadn't been to before, I had the biggest poop of my life. Like, before gastric sleeve, I cannot remember having a bigger poop than I did after this lovely lady, who clearly has lipedema, did her magic on my legs and also gave me some reflexology on my feet with a little tool thing. And 1 hour of that, it sort of led me to think, oh, I need to do a 30-day challenge of having a foot massage every day and see what happens. Because I dropped, I think, like 2 kilos with that poop. It was ridiculous. And so it's on my hit list to do that, but you've got to take 2 hours out of your day. It's an hour, it's 20 minutes for me to walk up there, and then you pay, and then you wash your feet, and there's the whole process, and then it's walking back, right? So it's finding that time, and that's what we do. We put off the things that will lower our stress, and we justify them, because I'm like, oh, I'm too busy, I've got work to do, I can't justify 2 hours a day. Look, listen to me. Yet I felt so good just laying there and being in my body, because we don't do that enough, just feeling our body, being grateful for our body, even though our body is not what we want it to be and has issues and struggles and challenges. We still don't sit in it and be grateful that it still gets us through our days, because we are probably one of the most persistent kind of people that exist on this planet, right? Because nobody knows the challenges that we have to go through just to get through our days. And even though the fatigue is there, our legs feel like cement, we hurt, we're in pain, all of this, yet we still keep going. When do we thank our bodies and validate ourselves for doing that every day? We don't, right? So this is on my hit list for my coming challenges, actually, and I've got to get you the other challenges that I've done. But my challenges that I've got coming up are around this. They're around me taking care of me. They're around, I'm going to have a high maintenance month. I have never considered myself high maintenance, because I don't want to be an inconvenience to anyone. I don't want to drain the family finances. I don't want to take up time where I could be doing the washing or working for somebody, or, all these things. So high maintenance has never been something I related myself to. But that is going to be a 30-day challenge of going and doing something girly and high maintenance and massagey and all that sort of thing every single day for 30 days. Having a massage, having the foot and leg massage on my lippy legs to see what a difference that makes, from measurements, from how I feel kind of thing, and from other perspectives, like going to the toilet after this one. So, and here in Thailand, I can do that. because it's like $10. So for 30 days, that's 300, and I'm talking Australian dollars, right? So in America, it would be like $7, something like that. If you're in the UK, I'm going to say it's double that, about 20 pounds, euros, that kind of thing, just for context. And in Australia, a massage for an hour was like $120. So for 30 massages over 30 days, it will cost me about the same as 2.5 massages in Australia. And yet here you think, oh, that's really splurgy. That's like, oh, you can't have a massage every single day. But I thought, you know what? I deserve to. I deserve to figure out if this does anything for me. I have not ever been a home maintenance girly. So that's some of the challenges that I've got coming up, is living in the luxury world. And here in Thailand, living in the luxury world can be actually really affordable. And see what that does for me from a stress perspective, from a physical perspective, right? So I'm getting a list together of all the things that I can do. And because here in Bangkok, you can do anything. There's nothing that you can't do here. I can hire Normatec boots. I can go to a physio. I can have all sorts. I can do all sorts of treatments, and I'm putting together all the lists of things that I can possibly do. So if you're thinking of something that I should have a go at for being luxurious and indulgent and comforting, potentially still helps my lipedema, something that I wouldn't do, let me know. Let me know, because I'll see if I can find it here. All right. So I'm pretty excited for that. And it won't be till after my surgeries next month that I do that challenge. At the moment, I'm just gathering information. And at the moment, I'm also trying to do what brings me joy for the stress, right? So going and getting myself a coffee that somebody else has made for me, eating food that is luxurious is often, and by that I don't mean I'm eating all the stuff at home. I mean going out and having a lovely like Western lunch. Although quite often having the Thai food is my preference, right? So there's a chicken man up the road, and there's a meat man that always stands across the road from our condo, and his mu ping, which is pork on a stick, is next level. I love it. And it's 50 cents a stick. So 10 baht. So anything that brings you joy, that is going to lower stress. I also do the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is an ancient Hawaiian ritual or mantra rather than a prayer, I guess. And that goes, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. And it's actually a prayer or a mantra to yourself. It's not to somebody else that's done you wrong. You're not saying to them, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. You're actually forgiving yourself, which is so beautiful. So the long version of the prayer, but you don't say it, but just so that you understand what it means, is I'm sorry you're experiencing this. So say I'm doing the prayer on my lipedema. I'm sorry you have lipedema and you're experiencing this. Forgive me for thinking you needed this experience in your life. Thank you for taking this experience away. I love you, because I love you overrides everything in our human body, pathophysiologically, and all the things, right? It calms everything down when you tell yourself you love yourself. And we don't do that either, do we? Ever. It just doesn't occur to us, doesn't come into our brains. So that's the Ho'oponopono prayer. And I did the practitioner training on it because I loved it so much. And you can actually fiddle around with those 4 statements. And I ended up dropping the I'm sorry, forgive me, because I felt like, as somebody with thyroid disease and lipedema, I felt like I'd been apologizing all my life. Am I right? So I removed the I'm sorry, forgive me, and I just leave in the thank you, I love you. Thank you, I love you. And I know in my heart what that represents. I know that I'm saying, thank you, I get it all, take it away, I love you. All right. So that's what I do with it personally, because of that reason of forever saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for my existence. I'm sorry that I, take up so much space on this planet, all the things that we say sorry for. I don't believe we should anymore. I don't believe that we need to validate our existence to anybody else, just ourselves. Okay. All right. So that's your stress. So, and the other thing that I always do is I track everything to stay in control, because how do you know things are getting out of control unless you're tracking it? For example, when I weighed 130 kilos or however many pounds that is, you would go up 2, 3, 4, 5 kilos in a day or two, but you don't see it in your body. When you're large, right? You don't see it in your body. You just still feel as crap as you did the day before. So unless you're tracking things, you don't know what's happening. So even if the scale is going up, even if your measurements are going up, what's the other thing I always do? Where is it on the desk? That tells you how much I have to clean this desk. Measuring my legs, right? So if I'm not doing that sort of thing, and if I'm not watching myself in the mirrors at the back of the lift in the condo, all of that, if I'm not tracking everything, I don't know what is getting out of control without me realizing it. So then I don't know when I need to come back and get back to my basic system, which is what? Food, movement, environment, and stress. That's it. So for me, I have very specific things. For you, you might have different things under those pillars, but you must always have some kind of system that gets you back on track, that makes you feel good and makes you feel like you're back in control of whatever's going on in your life.